From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart of a villain, it's the heart of a villain. From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart of a villain, it's the heart of a villain. Hey yo, heart of a villain beats hard in the centrifuge. Bearded BP, 100 interviews. All it takes is 2 mics and 1 line. This is Bearded Villains podcast worldwide. Driving cross countries, getting ball tires. Fam across ponds, always inspired. Chapters connect, and then it's on fire. Check your phone, cause BV is like a live wire. They said that we couldn't do it and that another could. Never underestimate the power of brotherhood. Every bro, every chapter, every caption. Heart of a villain, bro. Lights, camera, action. Action, action, action. Let's go. BP. From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart of a villain.
Hello, everybody, and welcome again, back again, and again, because of the earlier start, the oops start that we had tonight. I don't know what's going on. I changed a few things around. I changed a few things in the settings and the programs, and had to do a major update in the streaming software. I don't know. I just something was weird, and when I went to hit go to stream this bad boy out, it didn't stream like it was supposed to. It didn't go where it was supposed to. Everything looked good on my screen, but nobody said they were getting it. So I had to redo that. We'll get that squared away in the future. But hey, thank you guys for being here. Welcome. This is episode 168 of The Heart of a Villain. Tonight, I'm trying a few things out here. And when I say that, I mean I'm trying a few scheduling changes and I'm going to be, the next few episodes, 169 and 170 probably, are going to be old BP here trying to figure out what I like, what looks I like when I look back on things after I get streaming back up again, and if I like this being in this part of the show and how I like things being around. But the general premise will be that, it's not gonna look, it may not look exactly the same, and it may not feel exactly the same as it did in the last 3 years. But hey, we are here to have some fun, guys. And as I strive to continue to do what this show has been meant to do from day one, you're still going to hear from our brothers. You're still going to hear from the bearded community. You're also going to hear in the coming episodes, weeks, months, moving out forward, you're going to hear from people that are not bearded villains but are in the bearded community, because I think we need to open up those doors as well to get those lines of communication open, because when push comes to shove, we're all in it for the same things. So it is what it is. But we're going to be doing some new things. Tonight, I've got a couple of great interviews for you guys. I'm not going to pop things off like I normally do with the merch and all that other stuff. I'm going to try to squeeze that in just a little bit. We will not have a calendar of events tonight because I'm still trying to get that thing set up, but that will be coming up shortly in the next episode, hopefully. And so if you have any items coming up that you don't think I'm already aware of, since we've taken a few weeks off, please let me know. Shoot those notes to me so I can get things on the calendar. If you also, I will say, if you know of anybody that is doing something cool, that is kind of a brother maybe we haven't spoken to ever or in a long time, got something cool going on in their life, they're doing something cool in BV, something, and you think we need to interview them and talk to them, get a short interview with them, by all means, send me their name as well. We always want to get word out and let other brothers hear from other brothers. And I'm not talking about just here in the States. I'm talking about all over the world. So if you've got a brother that you think has an interesting story, let me know. And then also I will say this, we are doing also some sponsorships for the program is the hope. Now, when I say sponsorships, when I say, endorsement type of things, I'm not looking at specifically to be paid by these things. I'm looking for me to be able to promote other businesses that are out there that may need a little kick in the pants from this little podcast show here. So if we've got some brothers out there doing some cool stuff, if you've got some brothers that own a business of some sort that might benefit the other brothers from hearing about it and you have some way to help them out by, if I can promote that for you, just hit me up, let me know, and I will see if I can work out some sort of a package with you to make things work so we can do some little ads here on the program moving forward. So we will start that up hopefully next week as well. So that's enough of the extra stuff right now. You'll see some changes as time goes on. There may be some graphics changes and some things as time goes on. But for now, we're just going to move right on forward. I had an interview, 2 interviews earlier this week. And the first one that's up, I'm going to be talking with Joe from New York Upstate. They just announced a new event that they have coming up. And they also, I'll let him explain it to you what the event is and all the cool stuff there. But also, he started a new podcast endeavor too, so I talked to him a little bit about that. So everybody sit back, relax, and let's hear from Joe from New York Upstate. All right, so Joe, tell me, Mr. Slap Happy.
What's up?
Tell me, buddy. I know you just recently made a special announcement in the last week or two about an event that you guys in New York Upstate have coming up. Can you tell all the listeners, just remind them about it? I know by now they've kind of seen maybe some flyers, some pictures, some artwork that's come out from this event. But can you just talk a little bit about this event and what inspired you guys to do it, and what inspired you guys to do it with the theme that you guys have chosen?
All right. So backtrack about a year or so, came across a autism group in upstate New York called the Family Autism Connection. They're out of Rochester, New York, and they do a lot of different things within the community in Rochester for children and adolescents on the spectrum. A lot of it is just different social things. But one of the things that they do and they have a camp up in the Adirondack Mountains called Camp Puzzle Piece. And one of the really cool things about this is for the people that are on the spectrum, they can go to Camp Puzzle Piece and they can continue all their normal stuff while enjoying Lake George and the Adirondack Mountains and all the things that go with that. But not only for them, it's also time that their family can go up with them. So their family members can stay at the camp as well and do their own kind of stuff. So family can still do somewhat of a family vacation, but there's still all sorts of things geared towards the person that's actually in the program. So that just always kind of sat really well with us, that they have that whole summer camp up there that isn't just for the people in the program, but also an escape for the family to go and relax and enjoy a week out in the country. So that kind of brought us to the charity we were going to use. And we had a couple different ideas. We wanted to hold it someplace that was fairly close to a bigger area. So we kind of went with Rochester, and we happened to stumble across the place called the Rochester Beer Park. And it's kind of set up like an old school trailer park. They have a lot of like old school campers and trailers that are kind of built into the sidewalls and opened up to be their bar and their kitchen area. There's the fake green grass stuff that you would see on porches all over the ground. There are pink flamingos everywhere. It's just this very like old school trailer park kind of a theme. Hence where the artwork came from.
Okay.
I got in touch with a buddy of mine that works at the tattoo shop, and I'm like, hey, I need you to draw me up a flyer for this event. The name of the place is the Rochester Beer Park. It's kind of like this old trailer thing. So like, I kind of want to have this like trailer park theme and have the flyer look like it's kind of an old school trailer park. And then we made the little dudes sitting on the ground were kind of a play off Garbage Pail Kids from when I was a kid in the late 80s. was the Garbage Pail Kids. And one of the things that Rochester's famous for is something called a trash. Well, it started as a garbage plate, and now it's become a trash plate because I think somebody had actually trademarked the name garbage plate. So we decided to make the Trash Pail Kids. So there's those two kids sitting on the ground with holding trash can lids full of random food. And kind of like the Garbage Pail Kids, we did a little play on their names. So garbage or trash lid kid one was beer drinker, or beer drinker if you say it real fast.
Right.
And then the second one we named Lilac or Lilac, which was short for lilac, because Rochester is very widely known for their lilac festival and this massive amounts of lilac bushes all through their parks.
Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool.
So that was kind of how that all came about. That, and I just like random, like different artwork that doesn't look like anything else, I guess. So
You've certainly accomplished that. Yeah, you've certainly
I don't know why
accomplished
a trailer park sounded like it was a cool idea for a flyer, but
well, to my knowledge, now granted, I've not been around forever, but you're the first, I think, BV chapter event to focus on and highlight all that is the trailer life and the trailer park
going
life.
for it, man. I want to do the hats for the event. I want to do the old school like foam front mesh hat you'd get at like a gas station.
Yeah.
Like I want to make that the part of the event merch with the event logo on it, is on an old school trailer truck hat.
Or do like some nice 70s logo, some nice 70s 70s writing style writing on it. That's when I think that's, to me anyway, that's what I remember about the foam trucker hats was that 70s font that's, you always see there's one or two 70s fonts out there that are just bring you right back, man. But
then there's a whole nother logo that we used. It'll be on the front of the t-shirt when the t-shirt releases, and we can actually start doing the sign-ups and the package deal with some of the merch. But there's a whole nother logo we did for the actual event patch itself, and that's on the very front of the t-shirt. Those patches haven't been released. I don't know. There's been talk that some of the guys don't want to release them out. They want to wait and just sell them. Either you have to buy an entry ticket to buy the patch or get it at the event, and then if there's some left over, we'll sell them after. But
yeah, it's a cool way to do it. I mean, I think you reward the people that are there to be the first ones to get it, and then if they're the only ones to get it, then too bad for everybody else. That's definitely a way to go with it for sure. Now I noticed that you mentioned earlier patches, the two figures that you're talking about, the two characters that you've already announced. Are they're going to be separate patches? You said, right? Is that the two patches you're talking about?
Yeah, those are each a separate patch. There was only 100 of each one made, and that was all we were going to do. And then we figure we'll do next year when the event goes again. We'll do two whole new characters for the flyer and for the characters, and we'll do patches for those and try to make it a series of trash.
Just what I was going to say. You got it. You're creating something there that you have to just continue it. You have to, if you miss out on the first year, the first set, you have to try and find it on the second or third market.
Yeah.
And somebody's going to, you keep this thing up, somebody's going to collect and have an entire, shelf full or picture frame full of these things.
If no one else, my wife will love it hanging in the living room. But like I wasn't even sure what we were going to do with the characters. I just thought it was a cool idea for the flyer. And since we were doing the trash play eating contest, it was, it just kind of made sense. And then I was showing him to a buddy of mine who's not even in the club. And he was like, you guys got to make those into stickers. And I'm like, I could do stickers. And I'm like, we could do a patch. And he's like, oh, I'd put it on my jacket. And I'm like, you're not even in the club. But he bought two of them.
There you go.
I'm like, all right, man. Like, he just thought they were cool. And I'm like, all right, well, if he'll buy them.
I wonder.
There's some BV guys out there that'll get a kick out of them.
Yeah, I wonder, and maybe you've thought of this too. I wonder what and it's because you're kind of spinning this off of the Garbage Pail Kids thing. I wonder what it would cost to actually get a limited production run of some actual cards, like collectible cards of those two characters as well.
Probably not that expensive. I mean, they used to do like the trading cards for like your
Yeah.
kids when they played sports.
Yeah,
Like
I just think it'd be fun if you could
terrible.
make up a like a card like that, and then you could write a whole bunch of random junk on the back of it.
Give each character like a full bio.
Yeah. How
Man,
fun would that be?
Don't challenge me, BB.
I'm telling you, man. You got some time. I'm going to give you some homework, man.
I got nothing but time.
I'm telling you, this could be fun for you. You could really get into it, and I mean, there's the point at which you're like, okay, what's the cost prohibitive measure at what point?
Yeah.
But how cool would that be? It's like, hey, oh, by the way, for all of you people that are here, you're going to be the first to get one of 25 public, releases of these things or something like that.
It would be kind of cool.
And they're unicorns. They're things that are out there, but nobody can find, and they're spoken of, and people get pictures with, and very, very highly sought after. It'd be fun.
It's not a bad idea. I could have a lot of fun with this one.
You could, and just think how creative you could get with, their bios and their birth dates and their all that fun stuff, man.
Yeah, that, and it's one of those things too, where like patches after a while, there's only so many shapes and so many things you can do with a basic patch, and especially with like some of the logo restrictions and stuff that we have, as far as can't change anything, can't move this around without getting prior approval. Like sometimes it gets a little tricky there to come up with something. You're like, all right, let's try to make something that guys don't already have 15 of plastered on their vest just from other chapters, but everything's the same shape.
Right. Yeah. And you run it, you too. We've had discussions in our chapter as well about, there's a point at which, event patches are difficult because they're a lot of times dated. There's you can get creative with some other types of patches, but then you run into, how many patches is everybody, they may not put them on vest jackets or whatever, they may just collect them, but how many are people really going to get if it's not super unique? Or if you don't create the platform like you're starting to do with these, if you're not creating a collectible series situation, which is always the smart play if you're going to do it that way. And there's a few chapters that have done. There's a few chapters out there that have been really successful with that. They've had some fun with it and done some cool stuff with it. So
the horror patches out of the UK, like that's just one example. Like that spiraled but those guys have done a great job with the design of keeping the characters rolling into like their logo and stuff. They've really done a good job with those patches.
Yeah, it was a really fun series to see. And then actually, I don't know how close you are with any of those guys or not, but I've seen probably at least 50 or 60 unreleased artistic renditions of other ones that they had that obviously they may have run into some legal problems if they made them for mock-ups of a variety of different characters out there in the world. But it's a very cool thing when they do that, man. But we're talking about creativity. We're talking about just kind of doing your own thing and what interests you and what kind of flips your buttons. But you've also done something else kind of cool recently. And I say that because I'm actually a listener of said podcast.
Oh my God.
I've listened to them in the last couple of days. I had to do my homework for you. You are a new podcast host.
I did. Yeah. I got bored one night and said, you know what? Why not?
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a shot. Why not? I got a bunch of random stories from like my years on the ambulance and, random stuff I've come across or stuff. I said, well, let's just start rambling for 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there, and we'll see who actually listens to it.
You know what I love is the first episode I'm listening to, and you're unapologetic. You're just like, I'm going to talk about some stuff that pisses me off and some stuff that just some random stuff. And you always say, bring a cup of coffee and leave your feelings at the door, I think is what you say.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, because I have a feeling at some point with some of his stories, I'm gonna piss. Someone's gonna get pissed. Someone will get offended, and it's not on purpose. Like I'm not out to try to offend anybody, but it's kind of one of those things that you can't worry about offending everybody. You just kind of got to go with it. And if someone gets offended, like I don't take it personal. You don't have to listen. Like I realize I'm a loudmouth that has no filter, and that's why I literally called the podcast "The Art of Being an Asshole," because it's kind of there's an art to it, to do it to where you're still a likable guy, but you can still be an asshole. And part of it is just like you said, being that unapologetic. Like I'm just gonna talk and I'm gonna ramble, and you might not like it or you might. I really don't care.
What struck me is what I loved about it was in both episodes, but mostly it was really noticeable, I think, in the first one, because you just obviously you were just like, it's like, and I loved it because I know when I talked to you about it before, I was like, all you got to do is just press record and just go. That's the hardest thing to do, is to get past that point where you press record. And it's very initially when you start these things, you want to take out. You want to edit the heck out of it. You want to take out the all that junk, and
Right.
it's just then it becomes almost phony sometimes when you do too much of that taken out. And so I love the fact that it's like you hit record and you just said, "All right, here's my thoughts," and
So
it was awesome.
That's legitimately, like, that's exactly what I did. I don't have editing stuff. I don't have anything fancy. I downloaded it's a program that works with Spotify, and you can record it on there. So there's an app. So all the stuff for the podcast, I legitimately just set my phone down on the counter in front of me and push record, and I just start talking. And I just talk because apparently I like to talk, and I just go. And then when it's over with, I don't listen to it to like see how I did. I just hit the stop button, and then I'll upload it and I let it roll.
I love that. It's something raw about it, and it's awesome. It's funny though. The first time, probably the first, the first 5 minutes, and you're in there talking about all these people at Walmart and all the,
Oh gosh.
and you're in there talking, and I just, and mouth breathers and all this other stuff, and it was cracking me up. I have to do this though. I have to play this because this was my first thought immediately when I'm listening to this. I'm thinking, I'm listening to George Costanza's dad.
Oh my God, you could have been.
I'm listening to, and so I'm thinking to myself,
Newcomers. The tradition of Festivus begins with the airing of grievances.
Yes.
A lot of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about it.
That's what I'm thinking. I was just thinking, oh, this is Joe's way of saying this is his airing of grievances. That's
Yeah.
And you probably couldn't have used that title, so you used it with the Art of Being an Asshole. But that's essentially what it is, and it's awesome. It's very genuine and it's fun.
It is. It's kind of entertaining, man. Like I realize when you're doing it, you're not having a conversation with anybody. You're literally just talking to yourself, which is kind of a weird feeling in the very beginning when you first start talking, is the fact that you're literally just telling a story to nobody. But eventually it just kind of gets not less weird, I guess. Like, and you just start rambling, and you almost had, like, by the second episode, or the one I just put out the other day, with the tattoo story there.
Yeah.
I almost had to stop keep an eye on the clock, or else I will just keep rambling because I'm a talker.
Yeah. Yeah. It's easy to do though. I mean, it feels weird at first because you're just like, who am I talking to? I'm just talking to myself here, and I already know my stories. So what's the, it's like you're reciting your own story to yourself, but
I need a little audience interaction.
Yeah, that makes it a little bit more interesting sometimes.
Right.
But the fun thing is that if you can jot down like 4 or 5 just like bullet points, you don't have to keep notes. But if you just like, okay, when I'm telling this story, these are the 5 things, and just start talking, and then just make sure that, okay, now I got to get to this point, and I get to this, and that may help you get, not so much you're doing a good job in telling these stories. That's awesome, but for your own edification to make yourself feel better, it may make you more comfortable with the idea of not rambling. That's what I know that for me, that's what I had to do initially. I was like, I had to at least put a couple little bullet points down for myself when I'm looking down and reading, because like you said, you get talking about one thing, and then you look at the clock and you're like, oh, time, I gotta hit record, turn it off, and then you're like, crap, I left that whole part of that story out.
That's probably smart. Like, it's very easy to get sidetracked. Like the dog in the movie Up when he sees the squirrel.
Squirrel.
Like, squirrel.
Yeah.
Right. Like like I'll start talking and I'll know in my head, like I want to go here after this story, but then something in the story triggers something else, and I'm like hard veer to the right. Like,
yeah, and it's your story, so you already know it so well. It's very easy for you to do that. It's easy for you to take those
little things. Yep.
So, well, all right. So tell everybody again, you're doing it on Spotify, but I can tell you that I listen to it through Apple Podcasts, so it's out there.
Yes.
It gets transported all over the place.
Yeah, I put it on Spotify and on Apple, both of them. It automatically, when I upload to one, it automatically does it to the other.
Perfect.
So right now it's just literally I'm just trying to figure out what I'm doing. I haven't got the fun BV stuff yet.
Yeah,
I'm sure that'll be an interesting couple episodes, but
yeah, you'll get to it, man. You'll get to it. I'm excited to see where this thing takes you, man. It's a fun process.
Time, and I'm just got nothing else going on, so I was like, when I was bored and might have been a little under the influence, and said I'm just gonna start a podcast.
Hey, some of the funniest podcasts out there have guys that are completely under the influence of something when they're doing them. So.
True story.
Hey, that may be the way to go every once in a while. Who knows?
You never know, man. It's been a lot of fun. It's been interesting. I gotta get me some fancy microphones, and I gotta at least get a basic setup with some microphones, so I can have a couple buddies come in that I used to work with on the ambulance.
Yeah.
That will tell stories with me, and that were on some of the calls that I was on that are just ridiculously asinine. Because people call ambulances for the dumbest stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like legitimately medical stuff, but then for whatever reason, everything else is just like, oh, we'll just call an ambulance. They can help me carry my groceries out of the car.
Yep. We used to get the same calls.
No, I'm sure.
We used to get those same calls. It's just they don't realize it's that number that they call. Let me just call for help, and then they'll figure it out. So
yeah, see, we would have fun with that though. If we got called somewhere at like 2 or 3 in the morning for one of those stupid calls, I would absolutely request law enforcement.
Oh, I know.
Just because I don't want you guys to be bored.
You don't want us to miss out.
Right.
Yeah.
So if I got to be awake at 2 in the morning,
well, we're already awake. We don't get to take naps.
I know. Sucks to suck, huh?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So there might have been, I won't say I did it, but there might have been a time or two or a dozen or more where you accidentally, hit your siren or your air horn when you're driving past the firehouse. It happens.
Oh my God, all the time. Sometimes
you're in a call and you just, if you're stuck at a stop sign or something like that and your horn goes off, it does that sometimes. Those cars are
I'll have to do an entire episode of law enforcement stories from calls. Because we're like within a small town, right? We knew all the cops, we knew all the sheriff deputies in our area, so it would turn into some nights like if you got a good fight call, like everybody who was on duty, like everybody went, ambulances went. We've pulled over cars for law enforcement when they were leaving drunk from the bar and cops weren't there yet. So there was some really good stories of like just being with cops during stupid stuff. That I'll do an entire law enforcement episode for you.
Yeah, if you think about it, the small town EMS or first responder types of things. They're their own, little sitcom in and of itself.
I know.
It could be. So, well, man, I'm excited. I'm excited for you. I'm excited in twofold, man. You got a lot of cool things going on with the Upstate chapter and coming up with this event. Now, remind everybody, when's the event?
The event is July 21st.
Okay. July 21st. Keep your eyes and ears out for that, boys and girls. And then also
July 21st and 22nd.
Okay, weekend of
It's
July
Friday,
21st.
Saturday, meet and greet on Friday, and then the beard comp and the trash plate eating contest.
Awesome. All right. Well,
Saturday.
I know I'm gonna do a follow-up interview specifically for that event when we get closer to it. We don't want to do that too far out because then people forget about it. We want to promote it, so we'll make sure we do that for you. And then also, again, how often are you uploading? You trying to do about once or twice a week? What are you doing for the?
I'm trying to do twice a week. I don't have a real rhyme or reason. It's more just because, like, hey, I'm bored. Let's go film an episode or whatever. But I'm trying to do at least 2 a week. Sometimes there might be more if I'm got nothing else to do and feel like talking to myself.
Sounds great,
man.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
The Art of Being an Asshole by Joe. Awesome stuff. Find it on your podcast platform near you, preferably Apple or Spotify. Joe, thanks so much, man. I appreciate it. Hell of you. And good luck with it. I'm going to be listening, and I'll definitely be seeing you here before too long, hopefully, and then definitely talk to you again for your preview coming up before the event.
All right, brother. I appreciate it, man. It's always fun coming on here and talking. It's always enjoyable.
All right, man. I will talk to you soon. Take care.
Okay.
All right, bye. Thanks, Joe. That was Joe, everybody, if you don't already know him. And again, his podcast is The Art of Being an Asshole. Actually, it's a asshole. I looked at his thing and Joe, it's not proper grammar. But hey, that's part of the fun of it, right? I knew I had to say something to you tonight because I get to look at it. We say The Art of Being an Asshole, but I think the picture says a asshole. So I don't know if you want to change that or if you just want to keep it the same or if it's just a typo or what it is. But I'm a grammar nerd, so I had to say something to you knowing that I'd see you on here tonight. But special thanks again, Joe, for that. Good luck to you on the podcast, and we will hear back from Joe in the coming months as we get closer to his event that he has coming up. All right, so let's real quick. I have 2 things that I found over the last couple of days, 2 things merch-related wise that I want to get into. Just real quick, flash those at you guys. And then I have a really cool announcement, a little self-serving, cool announcement for my chapter. But hey, I think it's really cool, so I'd like to share it here in this format that I have for everybody. All right, so hey, let's get into some merch. The first thing up we have is just off of his interview here. Just off of his interview, the Trash Plate Kids. The Trash Plate Kids. They have their 2 patches. Last I checked, they do have a few of these, each one of these available. They put them out as a pre-order and they're limited production run. But they're still out there, I believe. So if you're interested in the New York Upstate Trash Plate Kids patches, these will be, once they're gone, they're not going to be made again. And sounds like he has intentions of every year coming out with another 1 or 2. And this is a cool collection that you could start. So Beard Rinker and Lyle Ack, they're $12 a piece. So hit up the guys in New York Upstate if you want to grab 1 or 2 or a dozen of those things and finish those out for those guys. Also, I saw this come up through the captain's chat and a few other chats from our boys in Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, I think this may be their first shirt that they have with the new kind of logo situation there. I'm guessing it's green for a specific reason, maybe. Tampa Bay Villains with their TBV on the front and their new logo on the back. $25 plus shipping. Just what you'd want to do is hit them up directly. They don't have an actual store to go out to buy from. So shirts are $30 USA. It says shipping included. $25 plus shipping international. Okay, so that's what you got. So reach out to Souk directly or find one of the Tampa Bay guys, and they'll set you straight for that. But that is a 3-week pre-order, and I think you're already into 2 weeks, so we only have about 2 weeks left of that. And that's what I've got right now for the merch. And if there is any other merch, guys, please send it to me because I know I'm going to forget stuff as time goes on. And, of course, I don't want to miss out. It says it's the St. Patty's Day shirt, Mars says. Yes, it's the St. Patty's Day shirt. Okay, one thing that I want to mention here, just because I think it's kind of cool with my chapter, since we started our chapter in 2020, we came out with an X Factor, as many chapters do. This was it. The X Factor at hand, the idea behind this was because we have a crow, and we actually have 9 crows plus the overhanging crow in our chapter logo. And we have, of course, our scarecrow, Ezra, sitting there in the cornfield with all the crows. And the idea was because you have crows, birds, claws, that idea. This was supposed to be a claw mark, creating the X Factor with the BVNI on it. I've since learned from other people, and my co-captain Ed also told me that he's actually had people ask him what's the significance of our X Factor having lightning bolts? Well, we didn't. It wasn't supposed to be. Well, time has moved on, and we're now 2 years into this endeavor, 2 full years plus and then some. And we decided that we wanted to do a redux of our X Factor. Now, this is big news because up until officially get things approved, you had to always use lines and whatnot. But my understanding is that has changed or is in the process of being rewritten right now. So I wanted to show you guys and share with us. I just shared just a few moments ago the news with our chapter that we are officially approved for our new X Factor, which we are very proud of, and it's super duper awesome. And there it is. There it is. So with our corn, with our scarecrow, the cornfields, the crows, it just makes sense for us to use scythes. And this was done. I have to give credit to a couple of specific people. The first one of which is up with BVC, Mr. Optimus Mendez. He and I were chatting one day about some things, and he said, "You know what? Hey, stand by a second." And he sent me up a mock-up of the of a new potential X Factor in using some sides. And he was the first one to throw this against, and I would throw this to me. And so we took his design and brought it to the chapter, and one of our chapter guys, Tim, did a revamp of it, still using size and the lettering and everything to fit what our guys wanted. And so special thanks to those guys. But we actually have a new X Factor now, and it's fully approved without using lines. So my hope is that that's going to happen officially for other chapters down the road if they choose to request that. So thank you. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited. So we have a new X Factor. All right. Now, next up, I want to share my interview I just did with Big D down in West Texas. Now, next weekend, not this weekend, next weekend, they are hosting LSV6. Now, I want to preface this real quick. Even if you don't know him, even if you've never met him, even if you're not going to LSV6, watch this interview. They're doing some cool stuff. They're doing some stuff at this event that to my knowledge has never been done in the way that they're doing it. And it's a really cool idea. It's not a beard competition that they've worked into their event. I'll let him tell you about it. But it's going to be a really cool event weekend. And the winner, holy cow, the winner of this event weekend, the winning chapter or team chapter, whatever, he'll explain it. But the award that is given for first place, holy cow, you will be just as in awe and impressed as I was. So come with me now and enjoy this interview with Big D from down in West Texas. We're talking LSV6 coming up. All right, this weekend. Well, not this weekend, next weekend. Getting ahead of ourselves there. Next weekend, man. I'm here with Big D, Daryl, with West Texas. West Texas. Yeah. You guys have something pretty cool coming on next weekend. And yes. I'd love for you to take a few minutes out to just kind of explain to everybody what you got going on. And maybe we got some fence sitters that are still out there wondering what they're going to do next weekend. And we're going to give them a reason to be there.
Hey, man, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for bringing me on here. It is much appreciated and an honor to be on here. I'll tell you that right now. What we got going on is an annual tradition that started in Austin a long time ago, 6 years ago. It's Lone Star Villains Meet. So those that don't know, there are technically now 7 chapters in Texas. When it first started out here in BV, we had maybe about 4 or 5. And what ended up happening, is a meet amongst all the Texas chapters so that we can all get together, we can all hang out and just enjoy the camaraderie, kind of like our own version of DSV or like a world meet, but on a smaller scale because, again, Texas chapters. Yeah, and that's how it started out. And so that's why it's called LSV, Lone Star Villains. And it was the Lone Star Villains meet. The first one, like I said, was in Austin. I was at that one, and it was a blast. We all had a good time, got together, hung out. I experienced 6th Street for the first time, which was an experience. I'll tell you that right now. But one of the things that stood out was just the camaraderie amongst each other, and being able to, put, just like at a regular meet, right? You put eyes and faces to like people that you talk to online all the time, and you already have that bond with them through chats, and now it's just face to face, and it's even bigger because those of us from Texas, of course, you know how we are about our state, and we got them big egos, and always proud of our state and being who we are. So
you guys are a prideful bunch, that's for sure.
We are. I have yet to meet a true Texan that doesn't have the state of Texas tattooed on them. So
really, wow.
Yeah, I got mine right on the back of my neck.
Wow, that's something.
On their arms. It's a lot of pride here in the state. But the Lone Star meet just started out. It's the same format, right? You have a meet and greet when you guys get in on a Friday. Then you have a beard comp on Saturday, and I always say I feel it's funny because everyone says there's like a farewell brunch, and that never really happens because everyone's either usually too hungover, or they forget, or they just get out of there because it's they gotta go to work the next day. It's a Sunday.
Got to get out of town, yeah.
Exactly. So we're like every year, West Texas has always been like, hey, let us throw it, and we always throw our hat in the ring, and it never comes to fruition because it's on the opposite end. So those of you that don't know, our chapter where I'm at, we are located in El Paso, Texas. And now, to give you an idea as to how big Texas is, my I guess, quote unquote, territory or region for West Texas expands from El Paso, which is on the very tip of Texas. It's actually on the border of Mexico and New Mexico. And it goes all the way up to Lubbock and all the way down to around San Angelo. And that whole area, is my guys. And so at one point we had people sprinkled throughout those areas. And, for the most part, everyone's kind of stood from either here in El Paso, Lubbock, or Midland, or Odessa. Now, that's a far drive. Those that don't know, driving from here to Austin, it took me about 9 hours to get there. And that's just driving. Texas is a big state. We had it in Houston one time. That was about 10, 11 hours. And again, it's a long drive. So we understood. We never took it personal. We said, hey, it's fine. I understand. It's all good. Fast forward to last year's Lone Star meet. That was in North Texas. Excuse me. And, yep, it was North Texas. And sent my co-captain Fetty out there. I couldn't make it at the time. My wife was expecting, and it actually wasn't. Yeah, it was. We actually just had a baby. Sorry.
Oh, really?
Baby. So yeah. So we weren't able to go. So Fetty, who's our co-captain, I tasked him. I said, hey, you need to go and just put the word out, because at every Lone Star meet, they vote for the next location that it's going to be held at. But only those in attendance can vote to make it fair. We don't want people to come in and say, hey, I'm going to go, add more votes to my group because we have a bigger chapter, a bigger group, whatever. You have to be present. And Fetty was there.
Do you have to be present? Do you have to be present to even submit your own chapter for it?
They'll list all the chapters. In all
Okay.
fairness, as captains of Texas, we actually have our own chat, and we all talk about Texas related items, right? So
Gotcha.
that's one of the big things we always talk about, and we agreed on it. We all said, hey, in all fairness, we'll list all the chapters, but if you don't have anybody there to vouch for your city or say, hey, this chapter, kind of pretty much rally for us,
Right.
and so Fetty, bless his heart, that boy went and he did his thing. That man did his thing, and he was texting me updates. Hey, dude, I think we're gonna do it. I think we're gonna do it. And I'm letting my chapter know, hey, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And sure enough, it happened. And so we're like, all right, we got a whole year to prepare. And that's, it sounds like a lot of time, but truth be told, it flies by.
Oh, I bet.
It's oh my God, it's gone by so fast. I mean, I can remember when we were first initially talking about it, and I'm going to correct myself. I didn't go last year, not because of the baby. That was earlier, a couple times ago.
Hey,
I'm losing my train of thought.
time
But hey,
time flies
that's
when you got
besides the
family
point.
stuff going on.
It is. But we did end up talking about it, and the chapter was excited to do it. So I told my guys, hey, I need all hands on deck. We had all these, great ideas. And just like with any great group, right? Everyone's going to come together and everyone wants to do this, wants to do that. We had all kinds of different ideas coming out of left field. And so as a captain, I had to say, okay, let's put time out. Let's go in and let's hash this out the right way. So
Let's
we formed
rein in some of these ideas.
yeah,
Yeah.
form a committee here. They're like, oh, we can bring in celebrity this, celebrity. I'm like, okay, hold on. We need sponsors
Yeah.
first. We need so I had a little bit of experience myself personally throwing an event with Pulpo as part of our chapter as well. He also had experience throwing events, and we kind of all shared our ideas, our thoughts. Fetty in his own right has his thoughts as well. Our treasurer Montes has been a big help as well. He's actually given a lot of good ideas and input in the format and how we're going to do things. A very structured man. He's a former Marine, so he's all about
Oh,
structure. And it was great. It was perfect. So we're at that point now where we're getting closer to it. And I remember talking about the theme, and I said I want there to be a theme. I know usually everybody just does their city, but truth be told, when somebody says El Paso, nobody really knows where that is, who we are, what we're about, why we even have a star, on our shirt. It's hard to explain to people that aren't from here. So I said, here, guys, here's the history in the chapter. I've been part of the chapter since its first official chapter meeting, back when Pulpo was co-captain and Jeremy was captain.
okay.
And I remember we met. My first chapter meeting was at Tilted Kilt. I remember because there was a UFC fight, and we were watching it together, and it was a great time. And that's when I fell in love with the brotherhood. But um, Pulpo has shared with me a lot of stories. When I became captain, once Pulpo and Jeremy, stepped away to, let up the throne for somebody else, he personally nominated me as one of the persons to be considered for captain. And I took that personally, and I took that with honor and pride. And here I am 6 years later, still the captain of this chapter. We hold elections every year, and I'm very thankful and I'm grateful for my guys to have that faith in me to allow me to continue to run this chapter. It means a lot. We've come a long way, especially now becoming a 501c3.
Yeah.
It's been a ride, and I love it, and I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. It's been stressful. I got gray hairs, but hey, what can you do?
Welcome to the
But
club. That's right.
yeah, exactly right. But the thing is funny is that Will was saying, did you know when this chapter started, we were supposed to be part of New Mexico? And I said, what do you mean? He said, when they were doing like the territory regions or whatever, they didn't realize how big Texas was, and they just wanted to do one chapter for all of Texas.
Oh, geez.
And I was like, and where the hell are we going to meet? Because I don't know what's going to happen. So they were going to kind of put it to New Mexico. And what ended up happening is Woodward ended up pushing for it. Him and a few other brothers, Jeremy, back at the time, I believe it was AJ and Jesse Honey Badger. They all pushed to what ended up becoming New Mexico, which was headed up by AJ and Honey Badger at the time, and West Texas, which was headed up by Pulpo and Jeremy. For those that have been in BV long enough, that's how they became Four Horsemen of BV. So knowing that, and knowing that we were initially the first chapter in Texas, Betty came up with the idea of why don't we call it Back to Where It All Began? And I said, you know what? That's a good tagline, and I love it. I'm a marketing guy. I love that idea and that concept. I said, let's run with that. And so that's what we went with. And I explained, let's make it big. Let's make it different. And Montes had the idea of, hey, let's push the other chapters in Texas and let's challenge them rather than a beard competition that we all know how it goes.
Yep.
Maybe 4 or 5 from your chapter go up. Yeah, you cheer them on. Yeah, cool. And I like a good beard comp too, but where's the camaraderie in that?
Yeah.
Where's, I'm not saying there isn't, but where's the pride? Where's the, hey,
Oh,
my
I get
chapter's
it.
better than yours? So Montes had come up with a few different ideas. One of them was a field event, which was actually a really good idea. I enjoyed it. Imagine some guys doing like tug of war, potato sack races, three-legged races, and so we kind of gauged it. And what ended up becoming of it is I said, I don't care what we do. I want us to compete with the other chapters in Texas, and I want to issue a challenge to the chapters in Texas. LSV has grown over the years to where now we have visitors from, I know Louisiana shows up from time to time regularly lately. I know Morgan's been showing up and showing us some love. I know that some of the other brothers from other groups come out. I know you've come out to our
Yep.
meets as well, and it's really just like a great time, and it's cool to see it grow to what it is. I remember it was just us and somebody in Ed's backyard when we his parents' backyard at a barbecue. It was fun as hell. I had a great time, but it's grown since then, and I wanted to kind of lay the gauntlet down because as captains of Texas, we all kind of talked and we said, hey, let's that we had been talking about like let's bring the togetherness in the states together after now that COVID I feel threw a wrench in a lot of chapters in terms of getting together again. And I know it messed up a lot of stuff for us. Like we went from having meetings every single month and getting together in between then to we had to do virtual. And we
Right.
had to do and then from there everyone was kind of hesitant to do I want to go out, do I want this, do I want that, and we get it, we adapted and we've overcome that, right? But now it's like, hey, let's shake all that off. Let's do something great for our groups. And so, me being a competitive man, the other brothers being as competitive as they are, let's said, hey, let's throw the gauntlet down and let's challenge the chapters in Texas. So I had a meeting with the brothers from the other chapters, the captains in Texas, like Scrappy and Robert and all of them. And I said, hey, I'm going to challenge you guys. I want you guys to create your teams. I'm going to see y'all at LSV6, and we're going to do something different. This year, LSV6 is called LSV6 Turf Wars because we're going to see who
Good.
runs Texas.
All right. I
And
wondered where that came from, man.
that's exactly where it came from. Yeah, it's Turf Wars because we're all fighting for pride.
It's funny because, and I'm sure that you laying down the gauntlet like that was taken as an absolute challenge, at least by a few of those captains for sure. Knowing them, they're not gonna stand up for somebody else thinking that their chapter's bigger, badder, better than theirs. So
exactly, and I love it, and it's all, and the beauty of it is all of us being the way we are, we all take it with good heart. We know it comes from a good place. It's nothing disrespectful to anybody.
Yeah.
So that's why I was okay putting the term turf wars, right? Because
Yeah.
hey, I'm not trying to badmouth anybody, but we want to have a good time. We want to have some fun. So I decided to personally up the ante, and those that are outside of Texas don't know that this is happening. So we ended up changing it up from the field events. I actually just announced yesterday that it is going to be a paintball tournament on Saturday. And so trios, any chapter can be represented. Texas chapters can have more than one because we know some guys bring a lot more people. So it's going to be a group of trios. So I think I have about 2 groups of 3 that are going to go for us. I think so, last I counted. I think a couple other chapters have enough to do 1 or 2 or 3, and that's cool. That's cool because hey, better chances for your chapter and better opportunities because the top chapter in Texas comes home with the championship, and that's what I called it, right? The championship. And a little history lesson about me: I actually do color commentary here locally in town for a Lucha Libre league. It's called Lucha Frontera. And I do that. I actually just did a gig on the military base Fort Bliss this past Friday. I got another one in March. So I'm the color commentary voice for our professional wrestling team, our group, I should say. Yeah.
Very cool.
So I'm very, all about crowning champions. So the winning chapter in Texas.
Oh no, look at this.
We'll come home.
I love it.
With the Lone Star Villains Championship.
That is
custom
so cool.
By the same company that makes our belts. I have the Turf Wars.
Oh my gosh.
Right there. LSV champs.
Hang on a second.
And
I'm
then
going to
I
put you
have,
on a solo shot so you can see if we can see this here.
yeah, so we
Look
have
at
all
that.
this thing weighs
Man,
about 9 pounds.
that's no
So
joke, man.
no, this is a legit title. This is what we use for our wrestlers in my organization. Pro Am belts. Shout out to them. That was a big thing that they set up for us and custom made with me. I sat there with them and went back and forth on a lot of different ideas, and that's what we ended up coming down with. So I'm super proud of it. I'm excited. I already been talking trash. I already told the guys I got a nice spot here in my office at where I'm going to put it because I plan on keeping it. But hey, I would love for somebody to come and try and take it, from another chapter in Texas. I dig it. And so with that said, Friday is going to be a lot of fun too. I don't want to take away from Friday. I kind of wanted each day to be its own thing. And usually Friday is like a meet and greet. We meet at a bar, have a good time, have some beverages, and meet each other, talk to each other. Well, here in El Paso, we have a brewery called Old Sheepdog Brewery. Amazing place. Gus is the owner. He's an amazing man, super humble, super kind. We've actually had our meetings there ever since we met him, and that's our official BB3W hangout. Is Old Sheepdog Brewery in El Paso, and it was a sign. I believe in signs. When I parked there for the first time, and I met with him, and we talked about this having the meet and greet there on a Friday, I was very familiar with the area. Come to find out, when I got there, I parked and I looked up the road. It's literally 2 blocks from the park where we used to meet at as a chapter.
Oh, man.
It's called Lincoln Park, underneath what we call the Spaghetti Bowl, the highway connections. And it's well known out here in El Paso because it has a lot of Chicano graffiti art and a lot of preserved stuff. Those of you that are wrestling fans may know of Eddie Guerrero. He's from El Paso. There's a mural dedicated to him there. Of course, being Mexican, there's a Virgen de Guadalupe on there. And it's actually really cool. I love it. And so that was our meeting spot for the longest time. We stopped meeting there because, weather is sometimes uncontrollable. We needed something consistent to move indoors. So we had bounced from place to place, and we found Old Sheepdog Brewery. Gus is happy to have us. That's going to kick off at 6 p.m. on Friday, the 24th. And that's going to have vendors, local vendors. We're going to have food trucks, so amazing food trucks. One of them is Star Burgers, which is amazing. They pretty much sell out every night. How good they are. We already asked them to up their inventory for the meat because it's going to be a lot of people, a lot of guys hungry as hell, and I'm looking forward to that. And then on top of that, we have some other food trucks coming up, some taco trucks. I mean, we wouldn't be Mexican without some taco trucks,
Yeah,
but
no doubt. And those
the
are
kicker-
legit. Those are legit taco trucks too. Those are
yes.
good. Yeah.
Yes, and what I love about it, the taco truck is a former luchador, a tigre. So it's awesome. I love it. It's my
Wow.
world. I love it. So it's going to be super cool. The kicker to it, though, is we're also going to have raffles, and we're also going to have live bands. We've had a lot of bands come in, and they're going to donate their time to perform for our brothers, and they're going to put on a hell of a show. One of them is a Deftones tribute band, which is pretty awesome. They're going to put on a great show. And the rest are just, awesome local acts that we've seen and heard around. And they're going to be doing their thing. Excuse me. Sorry about that.
That's right.
But another thing about this event is all of the proceeds that we make and profit there from our raffle items. We're going to have a 50-50 raffle. And from our merchandise that we have, all of the proceeds for that are going to be given and donated to the Ronald McDonald House. Yeah. So I've been in communication with them, and they are aware, and they're excited to be there. They're actually going to show up to kind of check out the festivities and partake.
Great.
The event itself is going to be, I opened it up to the public for the only reason being we want to raise as much money as we can for it. And El Paso is a very hospitable city. Very hospitable city. We are, I would say, probably one of the most hospitable folks around. So I would love to let our brothers see my city in its full glory. And vendors are going to be there, like I said, lots of good vendors. But the biggest thing I'm so excited for is we partnered with Old Sheepdog Brewery, and we made our own custom beer.
Oh, we love that.
We decided to make our own. It was his idea. Gus was like, "Why don't you make your beer?" And I was like, "I don't know how." And he's like, "Come here." And we did. Me and a few guys, me, Fetty, Red, we all showed up. Trumpy, we showed up and said, "All right, teach us." And they gave us a lesson on beer and how it's made and what ingredients are used and all that great stuff. So we made our own beer. And the key to it, the trick to it, I know a lot of folks in BV are, craft beer aficionados, right?
Yeah.
I'm a bourbon guy personally. I love me some good bourbon. I just topped off a bottle of Elijah Craig. I need to go pick up some Angel's Envy this week. So um, beer is not my absolute forte. I mean, usually
Yeah.
I'll drink whatever. I'm not picky. I've had craft beer and I have some that I like. So, but I said I want something that everyone can grab
Sure.
because not only is this going to be our own custom brew, a percentage of the sales will also go to the Ronald McDonald
Wow.
House. So that's huge for me. And
Yeah.
so I wanted something that's drinkable by everybody, not
Yeah.
necessarily craft
That's
beer
important.
drinkers. So yeah, we want to make sure, it's strong, but it's not gonna I want to be able to sell more than like 3 cans. We want to sell
Yeah.
cases here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we brewed about 250 cans worth of beer.
Okay.
And that's gonna be
What kind of
available
beer
for
is it?
sale. Thank you for asking that. So they called it an IPL, not IPA.
Okay.
It's an IPL, which is a lager,
Right.
and it's going to be. They called it a cross. It's like the forbidden love child between like your typical like Budweiser type lager and like a Modelo.
Right.
So it's like it's not too heavy, but it's not too light either. It has like I want to say it's a 5.5% ABV, and
Yep.
it's gonna hit just right. I tried it the other day, and I can imagine being outside grilling, hanging out, and just putting them away
Yeah.
like nobody's business. So
Yeah, the
something to be
IPLs
very
are
good.
always the IPLs. I love because they have they have just enough of the hoppiness in them that the
Mhm.
people that are the real hoppy IPA drinkers, they'll still like it, but
Yes.
not so much that the people that don't like IPAs at all that they're going to be like,
Right.
no, I don't want to have anything to do with that. So, good
And you're right.
choice,
It's
good
true.
choice.
Thank you. And it's going to be an amazing brew. I'm excited to display it. We haven't named it yet. As we speak right now, Fetty and Montes are meeting with Gus at Old Sheepdog,
Okay,
and they're working that out for us right now. So that's to be announced
have
later.
some fun
But
with that.
I'm excited to have that beer. I'm going to purchase a few for myself just to keep as a memento here in my office,
Yep.
just because it's a big occasion.
Oh yeah,
This brewery is not your normal mom and pop. They actually have been dubbed like the city's official, because they have brews and beers named after sides of towns, and
sure.
very very um, Chuco like, as we're called. El Paso is known as Chuco Town, right? So we have that pride. So we have all our different neighborhoods represented very well in a beer, and I haven't had a beer I didn't like at Old Sheepdog,
Awesome.
and it's so good. So I'm excited to do that. So Friday's going to be that. Saturday we're going to do paintball at 11. That's going to be the tournament. I'm working out a special night out on Saturday night. Just waiting on the final details and to release that, because I just need a more definitive head count from some of the captains. I want to make sure I have enough space for everybody, but it's going to be a good time. And then Sunday morning, I'm determined, come hell or high water, we are going to have a brunch. I'm reserving it, and it's going to be at La Morena. It's a Mexican restaurant, but it's a brunch buffet. So you're going to be able to have Mexican food for breakfast, Mexican food lunch. So anything from tacos, enchiladas, huevos rancheros, you name it, it's going to be there. Menudo, pozole, it's all going to be there. And it's going to be amazing way to kick everyone off as a, hey, thanks so much for coming out. Enjoy and, have a good time. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, you've got an advantage there because what you described, everything that you mentioned food wise there, those are all fairly light, still flavorful foods to eat, even if you're hungover.
Yeah,
It's
Mexican
not-
food is the ultimate hungover
Yeah,
food.
it is. It's not pancakes and sausage and all that stuff that's just
I
going to
mean,
weigh
they
you
have
down for
it
the
if
day.
you want it. It'll be there.
Well, yeah, but if you have the opportunity to have, the authentic
yeah.
stuff that's down there, and yeah, why wouldn't you? Especially
What
if
we
you're from
need
out
to
of state.
what we need to do is we need to get you out here, and I'm going to take you to Ellen J's. It's a Mexican restaurant, historic Mexican restaurant across the street from a cemetery. Best Mexican restaurant in town, in my opinion. My favorite. I love going there. It is delicious. I haven't had a plate I didn't like there. So
Wow.
invitations out there, brother.
Hey, if I can find my happy ass way to get down there in short order, that's the problem.
Oh, anytime. It's an
that's
open invitation. Anytime.
that's the problem with I was when I came down last year for LSV, I was like, man, I felt a little bit out of place because I didn't have a cowboy hat or boots, and I think I wore jeans, but that was about it. I wore one of my hats like this, and I was the only person I think that was a male that was not wearing a cowboy hat. I think at that place, but
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a big thing out here, right? And the
yeah,
funny thing is, a lot of people don't know. A lot of people. I remember at the last LSV, somebody asked me, "Hey, I moved out here. I live here. I own land here. I bought a house here. When can I start wearing a cowboy hat and boots?" And it was me and Eugene. I don't know if you ever met Eugene.
no,
He's just he's actually taller than I am. I'm about 6'2". Eugene's a little bit
okay,
taller than I am, and we looked at each other and we're like, you don't need an invitation, man. You don't have criteria. Just do it right. That's all we ask. Like right now it's felt because it's winter time.
okay,
Once it turns to summer, we'll switch to the straw hats. And then again, once September-ish comes around, Labor Day comes around, we'll swap it back out to the felt hats. So that's all it really is. And it makes sense because you want felt to keep your head warm.
right,
You don't want this will make you sweat. I made the
right.
mistake of wearing this in the summer one time and I was sweating up a storm. But yeah, that's it. I mean, it's super easy.
So you have
Boots,
to buy two.
yes,
You have to at least buy
I would
two if you're going to
recommend.
buy one.
I would, or you're not going to wear one for half the year.
Right. I get it. All right, man. All right. So the one thing we didn't cover. What are the costs for everything so that everybody can be prepared for that, and what forms of payment? I know this is a big thing sometimes. Are you going to be
Right.
accepting for people?
Right. A great question, actually. So for the meet and greet itself, it's a free event, and you can go in. There's no cover charge or anything like that. The brewery will be accepting cash, card. That's the usual, the norm. Us ourselves, we accept cash, card, PayPal, Cash App, stuff like that. We'll have it all set up and ready to go for you guys. Raffles will be cash only, especially the 50/50 raffle. Those will be cash only. And then as far as the vendors go, all of the vendors, I would say not all of them, but I would say the vast majority of our vendors will be able to take card or cash app.
Okay.
And then for Saturday's festivities, if you want to participate and play paintball, it's on the website on the bb3w.bigcartel.com. There's going to be a registration there that you can sign up and you can register for the event. Even if you just want to do it as if I get enough people, we'll run a solo, just a free for all kind of, let's have some fun because we have all day there. And it's $30. And what that's going to include the gun rental. That's going to include the mask. It's going to include camo. That's going to include 500 paintballs. And so
Wow.
that's going to include your time there as well. So I'll have a food truck there as well. It's a local food truck. They go by Thirsty AF. And they're aguas frescas and they're Juarez, what we call Juarez style, Mexican style hot dogs, which are pretty much hot dogs wrapped in bacon. Extremely
Oh,
delicious. And
wow.
so they're going to be there for sale, available to eat and grub. Of course, at the place itself, it's BYOB2. So if you guys wanted to bring a cooler, bring a chest, that is more than welcome as
Oh,
well.
okay.
At the paintballing, that is available as well. And then for the evening, it's going to be at one of our known bars out here. So they accept all types of payments as well.
Great.
Sunday for the brunch, they take all forms of payment at the restaurant. It'd pretty much be on your own tab at that point for that
Okay.
one. So I try to make it as simple and easy as possible for
Uh,
everybody. I didn't
Options.
want to make it too expensive either.
Yeah.
So
No,
that's the beauty of it.
you've done it up. I mean, you got options, 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 and I like the idea there. So you said it includes the gun rental, the obviously the CO2 and whatnot, and the paint and 500 paintballs. But you
Mhm.
said camo too,
Yes,
and
like
a
a camo
mask.
shirt, like a padding.
What?
Like I think it's like padding. I've never been to the specific location, but it looks like it's like a cover shirt to put on
Wow.
over. So the field is really great. It's all, I want to say it's all grass or turf. It looked really green when I was looking at it, and they have all types of they have like cut up porta potties up to use as like shielding and blocking and
Sure.
stuff like that. Cover, I should say. They also have many different areas to like hide and poke and peek and all that good stuff run through. It's a large field. It's three fields that they have. So depending on how many people we can get out there, will determine which field we use.
All right.
But yeah, it's going to be a great time. The camel's going to come in handy for those trying to not get hit as bad, right?
Now,
I already had to warn.
are you going to allow, I have to ask this, because I know there's somebody, probably more than one, that's coming. Are you allowing, do they have to use the rented equipment, or if they are a paintball aficionado, can they bring their own stuff?
They should be able to bring their own stuff. And if there's anyone there out there that would like to, shoot me a message and let me know, and I'll make sure it's cleared. I mean, I don't see any reason why not. They usually offer the rental guns because not every, like, I don't have any.
Right.
I have other guns, but I don't have that one.
Right. No, I know of people that have gone out to big group paintball wars type thing, and most everybody there rents stuff, but then there's like one or two that play all the time, and they have
the
super hardcore guns, and
Some
they're
of those
just
are crazy.
they're just out there just obliterating everybody from
Have you seen the ones
200
that use
yards
like
away.
2 fingers?
Yeah,
They're there and they just. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
that's nuts. I don't have the coordination. To
it's
do
almost
that,
full auto at the yeah. And then there's the other ones that are almost like, I mean, they're like sniper rifles that you can hit from a long way away.
Oh yeah.
So those people have a little bit of an advantage, but
They do, but it's okay. I mean, hey, I welcome it.
it's all for fun.
My whole goal is for us to have a good time, have fun, be part of the brotherhood, and enjoy ourselves, and just bringing it down to basics. Not be so formal about I gotta hurry up and get ready for a competition or not.
There's no beard competition that weekend, boys and girls. Go out and have a good time, get dirty, have fun down in Texas. That's awesome.
Heck yeah. We got the hotel. I forgot to mention that. One of the hotels is actually going to be really close to Old Sheepdog Brewery. It's in the center of town, right by that Lincoln Park that I was talking about that has the awesome murals, great for photo ops, and actually on the other side of the freeway from the restaurant, J.'s Cafe. But it's called the Americas Hotel, and I have in the loans, and anyone wants to join in, I have the chat open. I have it in the notes already. All you have to do is call them and mention that you're going for LSV6. And the rate is $69. I have it right here. It is $67 plus tax.
Wow.
Per night, and that's either a double or a single.
Wow, that's very nice. All right.
So,
man, Big D coming in strong with all the stuff.
Have to.
Dude, this is going to be a blast, man. I'm kind of really bummed I'm not going.
It's not too late.
For me, it is, unfortunately. Airfare last minute's not cheap.
Oh yeah, I learned that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's not an easy ticket to get either. From
no, it's not,
because I have to fly to Chicago. So, fly to Chicago, and then what would I do? Do I fly into El Paso, or is there someplace nearby?
El Paso.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
I mean the nearest would be after El Paso. It would be Albuquerque, and that's about a 4-hour drive. And if you're feeling real dangerous, Juarez, which is across the border, but I wouldn't recommend that right now.
Why not?
Well, because you need a passport to come across. I don't think you have time to get one.
No, I've got one, but yeah.
Oh, well, there you go.
But it's not worth it. No. But yeah. All right, man. Well, hey, I'm excited for you. Please do me a favor and share some videos and photos and stuff up from the weekend. And man, if seeing that belt doesn't get guys jazzed up, have you already shown that to everybody?
No, this is the first time actually. I just got it today. Actually, I got the case for it right here.
There's a case and everything.
Yeah, I got to carry that in style. But yeah, this is soon to be in my office around my waist. Well, I don't fit around my waist right now, but it'll get there.
Oh man, I've got you. What you need to do is go ahead and spread that thing out and send a picture to me for that of that. I'll promote the heck out of it for you. Yeah, you got unfocused again somehow. On. But
it's the glare.
It's that glare.
Try. I'll just throw it on my shoulder. I'll get
there
used
you go.
to it.
Just do it natural style.
I'll get used to it.
All right. This is good. Now we're all fuzzy for you for the end of the interview. But that's okay. Well, Daryl, I appreciate it so much, man. Big things going on down there, West Texas. Have a blast and be safe, but have a blast with it, man. And I look forward.
Of course,
I look forward to you're raising money for an organization that's near and dear to my heart. We also partner up with Ronald McDonald House in a big way. So kudos to you, and that's great to hear as well. But Have an
Oh yeah,
awesome
very
time,
near and dear
man.
to us. Oh, for sure. I appreciate that. Yeah, Ronald McDonald House is near and dear to us for sure. You know, of course, with Ref, everyone that knows Ref knows, his
Yeah.
story, and they took good care of him, and they continue to do well within the community. And we thought no better deserving organization than the Ronald McDonald House. So we're
Yeah.
ecstatic, and we're excited to be able to, help them out and give back to them.
Yeah. It's awesome. It's awesome. That's all I can say, man. Well,
Yeah.
like I said, said it a million times, man, but I'm excited for you. And just go have a blast with it. And don't sweat the small stuff. Once you get into next week, when you're the week of, just stay as organized as you
It's gonna
can.
be crazy.
Don't sweat the small stuff. That's the time to enjoy it.
I agree. You know what? And you're right. And my wife's been my biggest like like chill police. She's like, hey, it's all right. It's a week out. You got this. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, hey, at this point, I have one of those mentalities that I put everything out in the universe and let it all come back. Invitations out to everybody. Gauntlets throw down for the other chapters, and we're looking forward to the fun times that are going to be had. Wish you could have been able to make it, but I totally understand. Anyone else that's on the fence, not sure, if you can make it, by all means. I mean, I know I received confirmation from Oak and Phoenix; they're coming out. I know New Mexico's coming out. I know a few folks from Colorado, a few folks from California are coming out. Uh, some folks from
Oh,
Louisiana coming out, so it's going to be a good time.
if anybody that's listening to this thing has any possible chance in the world to get there, make your arrangements in the next week to be there, because this is going to be epic. This is going to be a blast,
Oh yeah,
man.
it's going to be a great
Even
time.
if you don't win, this is going to be a blast of a weekend. So.
Oh yeah, this will be a huge, huge fun time. Great food, great bros, great beers. I promise it's gonna be a lot of fun.
All right, man. LSV6 West Texas is your host. I appreciate it, man. You guys have an awesome time, and I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, brother.
All right, take care. All right. Thank you, Big D, for a great interview there. I mean, come on. Paintball, beer, the weekend, right there. It's right there. It's just a nutshell. It's right there for you. Custom made beer for the weekend, a paintball tournament, the 3-man teams. How fun is that? And then the winner gets to take home that badass belt. That thing's custom made. It's real. If you didn't understand that, it's the same kind of belt that they give out for actual wrestling. It's not a knockoff. It's not a cheap imitation of it. They paid big bucks to get that made, and it's going to be a traveling trophy. He told me after we hung up, after we stopped recording, he told me that he actually is the winner. If it's not them, which he presumes that it will be, but if it's not them, the winner will be able to. There's one of the panels on that belt has the ability to have it changed out. The big old gold seal that's on one side, and it'll be changed out with the actual chapter seal or chapter name or whatever it is, chapter logo of the winner. So very, very cool custom item. But that's super duper cool, guys. Well, hey, you know what? That's going to wrap it up. I want to say special thanks to Joe and to Big D for hitting me up so we can talk for a bit this week. Guys, this has been an awesome episode 168. We'll be back again next week with probably some more issues, but we'll have some fun with it. I want to challenge you guys, as I always do, to be the villain that the world needs you to be, because the heart of a villain never stops beating. And again, the most important words I ever say, please remember, it's okay not to be okay. If you are hurting, please find a brother to talk to. Remember, it's okay not to be okay. Well, guys, have a great night. Enjoy this weekend ahead. I'll see you next week back here for episode 169.
From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart of a villain. It's the heart of a villain. From the start to the finish, go hard.